I am gonna show you my exact step-by-step system to making my first $100,000 with my side hustle. And what makes this so special is that this was all done while working a full-time job and taking care of my mom. Now, before we get started in this video, I just want to say that no one can make you any amount of money if you do put in the work. It takes a lot of time to build up a business, and I understand that for some people it takes longer than others. The reason why I love sharing my journey with you guys is because I want to be an example of someone who came from nothing and built themselves up into something. There are so many people out there that have never seen someone who looks like them become successful, and that is why I try to show you every aspect of my life. Anyways, now that we got that out of the way, let's get right into the video. Step 1 of this whole process was coming up with the idea of selling socks. Now, I know that seems like an obvious thing to say, but the truth is that when I first came up with the idea of selling socks, I wasn't sure if I should go through with it or not. It took me about 2 weeks to think things through, research competitors, and plan everything out. In the meantime, I didn't waste any time and started thinking about what other products I could sell. So here's a pro tip from me to you. While you're working on your current idea, always keep thinking about new ideas and write them down. You never know when a great opportunity will come to you. For example, while I was selling socks, I had the idea of selling phone cases. Then after a few months of doing that, I had the idea of selling fidget toys, and I'm still selling those to this day. If you're constantly thinking about new products and new ways to make money, you're bound to find another stream of income eventually. This is how I ended up with 7 different streams of income. It's not because I'm gifted or talented. I've literally just been thinking about ways to make money my entire life. Now, once I decided to move forward with the sock business, I spent the next week creating a business plan. Now, a business plan is basically just a document that outlines all of the important parts of your business. For example, it might include things like your target market, your marketing strategy, your financial projections. A business plan isn't something that you have to submit to the bank in order to get a loan or anything. It's more of a guideline to help you stay on track and focused. In fact, when I first started my sock business, I didn't even have a business plan. I was just winging it. But eventually I realized that I needed a plan if I wanted to take the business seriously. And I'll tell you, it really helped me out. So if you're starting a business, I highly recommend creating a business plan, even if it's just for yourself. And don't worry about making it fancy or anything like that. You can keep it simple. Just outline your most important points and then refer back to it every now and then to make sure you're staying on track. After I finished my business plan, I spent the next week setting up my business. Now, this included things like registering my business name, getting a business license, setting up a business bank account, etc. I know that setting up a business sounds like a lot of work, and it can be, but it's definitely worth it. Trust me, you're going to thank me later when you don't have to pay taxes on your income. After I finished setting up my business, I was ready to start selling socks. Alright, so now that I had the idea and I set everything up, it was time to start selling socks. Now, when I first started selling socks, I was using a popular online marketplace. I won't name any names, but you probably already know which one I'm talking about. I was selling pretty much the same socks that you would find at a local store. However, what made my product stand out was the way I presented it. For example, I made sure to take high-quality pictures of my socks, and I also made sure to write detailed and accurate descriptions. In addition, I tried to come up with creative ways to package my socks. For example, I would often include handwritten notes with my orders thanking my customers for their business. These small touches really helped me to stand out from the competition, and I was able to sell a lot of socks. Alright, so now that I was making some money from selling socks, I decided to reinvest that money back into the business. For example, I would use some of my profits to buy more inventory. This allowed me to fulfill more orders and make more money. It's important to remember that when you're starting a business, you need to be willing to invest money in order to grow. It's rare that you'll be able to make money right away without investing anything up front. So if you're starting a business, just keep that in mind. Another thing I did was I used some of my profits to pay for marketing. Now, when I first started out, I was relying on word of mouth to get the word out about my sock business. But as time went on, I wanted to reach more customers, so I started paying for ads on social media platforms. This was a great way for me to reach new customers and grow my business. In fact, one of the first times I ever ran an ad was when I was selling socks. I spent about $500 on Facebook ads, and I was able to get over 1,000 impressions. That's a lot of people seeing my product. For perspective, I was selling each pair of socks for $20, and I had several orders come in from those ads alone. Overall, I'd say that the ads were a success. Now, one of the most important things I did during this time was I saved money. As I mentioned earlier, when you're starting a business, it's important to be willing to invest money in order to grow. However, that doesn't mean you should be spending money like crazy. In fact, I would advise anyone starting a business to be very careful with their finances. For example, I personally kept a close eye on my expenses, and I made sure to save money whenever I could. This allowed me to have a financial cushion to fall back on when things got tough. Starting a business is not easy, and there will be times where you have to spend money in order to make money. Having a financial cushion can make all the difference. In fact, I've had several businesses fail because I didn't have enough money to keep going. Alright, so those are the main things I did in order to turn my sock business into a six-figure business. Now, I know that this may seem like a lot of work, and it is, but the hard work paid off in the end. In fact, I was able to quit my full-time job and focus on my business 100. Now, if you want to see how I turned my second business, which was selling phone cases, into a seven-figure business, I actually have a free PDF guide that shows you exactly how I did it. The link is down below in the description. Make sure to check it out. And finally, I just want to say that nothing in life is easy. If you want to achieve success, you have to be willing to work for it. No one is going to hand you success. You have to go out and get it. Now, I know this may seem like a lot of pressure, but it's not something you have to do alone. There are so many resources available to help you along the way. For example, I've included the link to my free PDF guide down below in the description. Make sure to check it out. It's full of helpful tips and strategies that will help you on your journey to success. Don't wait any longer. Start today and achieve the success you deserve. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps support us, and I appreciate your support. Also, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.